Father will bless you, teach us your word in the name of Jesus. This is the ministry of Moses, part 33. And we're going to take our text from Exodus chapter 24, from verse 1 to 12. Um, verse, chapter 21 to 23 reveals the judgment strategy that the Lord gave to the Israelites, the things they should do, and how they should do what they are expected to do. But in Exodus chapter 24, verse 1, some of the ministers who were in the ministry of Moses were mentioned, and this include Nadab, Abihu, Aaron, and the 70 elders of Israel. The Lord told these people to worship him, but they should do that from afar. He said only Moses should come close to him. This was the exact picture of the temple. In the temple, there are three divisions. The first one is the outer court. That's the place for the general people. The outer court contains the general assembly of the people. Anybody can still there, whether they are, in the outer court, you can see different kind of people there, whether they are sinful or they are not. You can still stay in the outer court. That's the general place for the people. You will discover that the Israelites were also standing far away from God's presence for the fear of being struck. Their location can be likened to the outer court. Now, what actually happened here was that the Israelites stood very far away, followed by the priests and followed by Moses. So these three different strategic locations of the people symbolizes something with respect to the temple of God. Now, where the Israelites are standing, which is far away from where God was, that can be likened to the outer court, the general assembly that we have in the temple. Now, that is the place where sinners can stay to see and hear what God is doing, to see and hear what God is doing and still stay alive. Now, the second division in the temple is the inner court. This part of the temple is only for the priests. So we have the outer court. Now, the temple is divided into three. So the first one I have explained, which is the outer court. And I told you that where the Israelites were standing, which is very far away from where God was, is a representation of the outer court. Now, after the outer court, we have the inner court. This part of the temple is only for the priests. This is because the inner court requires some level of consecration for you to stand there. This is where people like Aaron and other ministers in the ministry of Moses stood. They were not really in the closest position to God, but they are more closer than those at the outer court. That was why the Lord told the ministers with Moses to stay where they are after they have moved ahead of the Israelites, because they cannot go beyond the inner court. Now, the third and the last part of the temple is the Holy of Holies. This is where only the high priests can stay, because in that part of the temple, if God finds sin in you, then death is sure. The Holy of Holies is for those who have nothing but God. It is only in the Holy of Holies that God speaks to people face to face. So in the ministry of Moses, Moses was the only high priest. Moses was a figure that can be likened to a high priest. Other ministers were priests, but only Moses was the high priest. This was why God will always ask Moses to come to him, even when others can't. It is not because God was being partial, it's because only the high priest can access the Holy of Holies. After the Lord have spoken to Moses about the people of Israel, he will leave the Holy of Holies to the inner court where the priests are, and then he will discuss whatever God has told him with the priests where they are, before coming to the congregation in the outer court to tell them what the Lord is saying. In verse 4, Moses built an altar under the hill where he met God, and also put 12 pillars there according to the 12 tribes of Israel. He sacrificed animals and sprinkled their blood on the altar. He also sprinkled it on the people to show cleansing and sanctification. After this, Moses went up the mountain again, and this time they saw the God of Israel. Now let us consider verse 10 to 12. And they saw the God of Israel, and there was under his feet as it were a paved work of sapphire stone, and as it were the body of heaven in its clearness. And upon the nobles of the children of Israel he laid not his hand. Also they saw and did eat and drink. And the Lord said unto Moses, Come up to me into the mount, and be there, and I will give thee tables of stones, and a law and commandment which I have written, that thou mayest teach them. Now here, after they saw God, the Bible revealed their reaction as they drink and eat. In kingdom context, seeing God is worth celebrating. Now all we celebrate is new cars, houses, children, jobs, etc. The Bible here is showing us another civilization where people will gather, others to celebrate how they have seen and heard from God. Imagine someone who rented an expensive hall, well decorated with caterer, serving people according to their choice. And when he was asked, What are you celebrating? He said, I saw the Lord. This may be strange to the ears and the eyes of men, but I want to tell you that such men have weight in the kingdom. This is how to know weighty men in the kingdom. You have cut many cakes just because you are celebrating birthdays, which is also an indicator that you are alive, and at the same time it's also showing that you are closer to the grave. But have you tried cutting cake to celebrate the fact that you are now a Christian? Have you celebrated the truth that the grace of God on your life has increased? Have you gathered people together to celebrate the encounter you had with the Lord? I know your response will be no, but you can start it. Kingdom giants are strange. What they celebrate are strange. Kingdom things moves kingdom giants. Anything that has to do with the kingdom is worth celebrating to a man that is kingdom minded. A man that is kingdom minded will always want to celebrate every success achieved in the kingdom. So they think less of carnal things and think more of spiritual things. This is the reason most of the things that matters to us here have, this is why most of the things that matters to us on earth have no weight in the kingdom. You are celebrating a car that a thief can steal, but your salvation means nothing to you. You are celebrating age that is a sign that you are aging, you are getting old, but you have not seen any reason to celebrate the fact that you can hear God. May you receive grace to start celebrating things of eternal value and weight in the name of Jesus. This is the wisdom of God. Don't sell it.